Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Story, a presentation by SpryntZ, particularly focused towards highlighting the stories of restaurants that we would like to bring out to all our viewers and users of SpryntZ. Today I have a fantastic guest with me, someone who also runs her own podcast. I'm happy to share the studio with her, and she also runs a fantastic restaurant where you get a homemade feel, and that restaurant is called Vasai Local. It is it is between Bardubai and Karama, I think right next to the post office. And I without further ado, I'm going to welcome Supriya to our podcast. Supriya, welcome to the studio.
Thank
Thanks
you
very
so
much
much.
for
Thank
coming
you,
to Beyond
Ari.
the
Thank
Story.
you for having me over.
Yeah. So Supriya, I always start with this question. Give me your journey.
Wow.
Who are you? Why you came here? What prompted you to get into restaurant business, which is the most failed business in the world?
Ouch.
Yeah, so let's start from there.
Perfect. First and foremost, I would say thank you so much, Ari, for
Yeah.
having me over here. And I feel a little different answering this question because this has always been my question
Okay.
to the other side. So I'll try and be in those shoes now. Well, speaking of journey, I am from Mumbai. Um, you could say from Vasai, a combination of Mumbai, Vasai. I've done my education in Vasai in a boarding school. That's why Vasai is a little close to my heart. My mom's from Vasai,
Okay.
and she that's her maternal home. Moved to Mumbai after marriage and so on. So for me, after studying in Vasai, I have then moved to Mumbai. Was there for just a couple of years, completing
Okay.
my education.
Okay.
And the moment I completed my education, I jumped into Dubai,
Okay.
got an amazing job here with the travel industry.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
I am from the hospitality background,
Okay.
but on another side, which was the travel. Worked for a couple of travel
Yeah.
agencies,
Yeah.
some real good ones here. Came here really, really young. I'm here for close to 25 years now.
Wow.
And my last venture was with Emirates.
Okay.
So I worked with Emirates, doing their brochures, negotiation, planning holidays. So that
Right.
was my job
Right.
at Emirates, which I super, super loved,
Okay.
which involved a lot of traveling as well, which I still love and miss. And just when your usual corporate life is happening to you, when life is happening to you, and you're not going with the flow, you're like questioning what's going on. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's next? What's
Okay.
next? Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt a bit stagnant with the corporate life. And it was so funny that today when I look back at it, I'm like, how did I even do this? I just decided to resign.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still scared about it whilst I talk
Okay.
about it now. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Let me just take
Okay.
a break.
Okay.
And the intention really was to take a sabbatical and get back to the corporate life. And just whilst I was doing this, I didn't even realize how 3 years passed by.
Wow.
And in the interim, I did go for interviews and all of that. And it's so funny that I went to the interview to somebody who I'd worked very closely with. And they're like, Supriya, you've been here for a year, you've been at home for a year. Do you really know how to get back into corporate life? And trust me, that day I was really depressed.
Wow.
I'm like, if somebody I've worked so closely with thinks this, that will I be able to perform on the job? The same person who said, listen, you can come
Yeah.
back whenever you want, our arms are
Yeah.
open for you. I'm like, looks like that's the end of my career. I continued to look for, jobs outside. And, when you work for Emirates, you have a certain
Yeah.
level that you want to get
Yeah.
into.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whilst I was doing that, I was celebrating my milestone birthday, and one of my friend, a happy high Punjabi, pulls me out of my own party, and he's like, "Listen, mera restaurant legi kya?" I'm like, "Huh? What are you talking?" He's
Okay.
like, "I'm selling my restaurant, and you need to buy it."
Wow.
I'm like, why would I buy your restaurant? Saying, because you said you always wanted to have a cafe. So I'm a cafe girl. I love to go out for a coffee. So if coffee means, like,
Okay.
let's hurry,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
meet
yeah.
up for a coffee,
Yeah, yeah,
converse,
yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
I said, yes, I want to do that, but I'm not ready as yet. He's like, you'll never be ready. So tomorrow come, give me the deposit and just take my restaurant. I'm like, okay, theek hai. And I'm like, I'll do that. And he's like, just give me 10,000 dirhams, whatever he gave me the deal, and we signed the deal with you.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, let me think about it. It's like you're not thinking, you're coming.
Got it.
And I just decide to go.
Okay.
We meet up in a coffee shop just closer to his restaurant, which is my restaurant now.
Okay.
And he's like, listen, I have many people who are here to do the deal with me, ready to give me full cash payment. But I want you to have this restaurant. There's something that I think you could do with this.
Okay.
So when I took the restaurant, Hari, I didn't know what I want to do.
Wow.
I just, again, jumped with a leap of faith and we took over the restaurant. We did this deal in January of 2019. I come home and I'm like, okay, what now? What now? What do I do? Because definitely I'm not opening a cafe
Yeah.
because I know we are in Karama where probably if I open just another cafe, if I open just another restaurant,
Yeah.
it's not going to work.
Got it.
And I would say I just started speaking to the universe, to God. I'm like, what am I going to do? What do I do? I need to put myself out there and do something different. That's when this just dawned on to me, like, why not introduce Koli cuisine to Dubai, to
Okay.
the world, and to
Okay.
the Indian culinary fraternity? And I'm like, okay, because why did I think of? Whenever my mom would come here,
Right.
people would be like, call us over for a meal, or tell mom to get us this particular fish from
Of
Bombay.
course.
So I'm like, okay, let's do the gamble. Let's try and tell people what Koli cuisine is all about.
Right.
And I speak to my family, which is my husband, my sister, my brother, and all. They're like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. I'm like, okay, but Koli dishes are only like 10
Yeah.
to 20.
Yeah.
What about the rest and so
Yeah.
on? Then I decide to go to Vasai. And the best way to go to Vasai is by train, of course,
Okay.
to save
Yeah,
time and
yeah,
all
yeah.
of that. And I'm standing at the train station and they announce, like how they do in India, that प्लेटफॉर्म नंबर 1 की गाड़ी अभी वसाई लोकल प्लेटफॉर्म नंबर 1 के बदले में 2 से जाएगी or whatever.
Got it.
I'm like, okay, thank you, God. I get the name of the restaurant.
Wow.
So I actually get the name of the restaurant standing at the train station.
Right.
I'm like, Vasai is where the cuisine is from. Local
Yeah.
is local cuisine,
Yeah.
local people, and I just added restaurant to it.
Yeah.
And with all sheer excitement, I call my family here in Dubai and I'm like, listen, I've got the name of the restaurant. And in my mind, I'm thinking they better like it because if they like it or not, I'm still going ahead with it. And I call them and they're like, no way you got this name. And I'm like excited to tell everybody
Yeah,
the
yeah.
story. Listen,
Yeah.
I've got the name. And we get the name. So I go to Vasai and I master the dishes. So what? I'm not a chef by profession, but I love cooking and I love getting into the detail integrity
Yeah.
of it. And
Yeah.
whilst I was at home for those 3 years, I'd baked a bunch of granola and left it on the table. And my friend came and tasted it, like, you should sell it. And just through word of mouth, I'd sold
Yeah,
like
yeah.
500 kilos of granola.
Wow.
That's when I started knowing how to do food costing and all of
Got
that
it, got it.
manually, all of it. And I said, the first thing I need to know is go and learn my own recipes. So I go home. So all these recipes are of my mom, my aunts, and some
Nice.
from my grandmother,
Okay.
which have been passed on to my mother.
Okay.
So I go and I learn the recipe, and we come back to Dubai. I start doing everything in a raw format. Not being a restaurateur,
Got it.
where to hire people
Right.
from,
Yeah,
where to
yeah.
get supplies from. I must also admit, for the first 10 days, we did buy our produce locally, like,
Locally, huh.
from a grocery store.
yeah.
We didn't buy it from the suppliers because we didn't have it then.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, we got the license done, and that's how Vasai Local was born.
Wow. That is some kind of a story. Supriya, I must ask this. In this process, it's probably a sort of a question which might be difficult, but in this process, have you being a woman and starting something, you did allude to the fact that you got enough support from your family and parents. Outside of that, have you in this process ever felt that there was some kind of a obstacle because you were a woman here trying to start a restaurant?
In fact, absolutely not.
Wow.
I
Okay.
thought I was in a better space. And I'd like to admit that I would be a little fearful, or rather, I would be a little doubtful if I have to do the same thing in India.
Hmm.
Reason being, I've lived here all my life.
Right.
The government supports us with
Of course.
so many things. Everything is so streamlined.
Yeah.
I'm talking in terms of the paperwork and all of
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes.
You say this is going to be done and it's done.
Yes.
This is a particular procedure. I believe if you follow what you need to follow, there is no such as, where you cannot do anything, be
Right.
it your man or woman. Yes, there are times where people did try to, I would not use the word cheat, but did try to get onto your back saying, listen, give me 10,000 dirhams, give me 20,000 dirhams, I'll set it all up for you.
Got it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've
Of
been in
course.
that part of
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
all that and nothing has happened really. But how I look at it is if he's given me even that one person, and if he's charged me 10,000 saying, I'll do the whole setup for you, or I'll be the consultant for you. And if I've got that one person who's worked in my favor,
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It's a win-win. But to answer your question, as a woman, I have never really faced any problems here whatsoever.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's also stands testimony to how the city is supporting
Absolutely, it's a city.
entrepreneurship, particularly for women and all of that. So that's the journey of how Vasai Local came about. That's a very interesting story, particularly about the name. And just so for everybody to know, you mentioned about the Kohli cuisine, right? What is it? Is it Virat Kohli?
No. So, exactly, when we say Kohli, people
Yeah.
are like Kohli,
Yeah.
which is not. So,
Yeah.
Kohli is Koli,
Okay.
and Kohli is Kohli,
Correct.
which is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Virat
yeah.
Kohli.
Yeah.
What is Kohli?
Yeah.
So, Kohli is an indigenous community of Mumbai,
Okay.
of India, Maharashtra. We Kohlis are the fisher folks of Mumbai.
Oh, okay.
So our occupation is really fishing.
Got it.
So, for example, if you have a farmer, his vegetables would come in from his front yard and backyard, and farming being his occupation. For the Kohlis, their occupation is mainly fishing. And that's what the cuisine is all about. So,
Okay.
a farmer would tend to eat mainly vegetables or the area you're grown in. With us, Kohli is us, as in the people, and Kohli Vada means the homes that open to the sea.
Ah, got it.
So
Okay.
every small area of Mumbai
Yeah.
would have a Kohli Vada, and these are the people who are known for
Yeah.
fishing. So they go deep sea fishing for 7 days and fishes their catch, and that's their staple diet. And that's what Kohli is all about, and that's the cuisine literally, seafood.
Got it. So, Supriya, I mean, India has got thousands of kilometers of coastline. Right?
Absolutely.
From what I can think of, as you were telling me, there are particular fishermen community across all these cities on the coast.
True.
Each one of them have developed their own niche in terms of what they cook and how they cook with fish,
Yeah.
right? So this is on the western side. On the eastern side, we have Kolkata,
Yeah.
the kind of cuisine they have with fish.
Absolutely.
And then down south, you have various parts of Orissa as well as parts of Tamil Nadu.
Absolutely.
And Kerala this side again. And then you have Goan cuisine, which is also some. So what is Kohli cuisine? What is the distinguishing thing that you probably do there, which a Mangalore cuisine does not do, or a Tamil Nadu fish person doesn't do? How do you differentiate yourself?
So, if I have to answer it in one sentence, people ask me, Supriya, what is Kohli cuisine?
Yeah.
The first thing I'll say is, this is the cuisine that is cooked in my house. Okay, that's on a
Okay.
smaller scale. On the bigger scale, like you exactly mentioned, Hari, we are here in Dubai. And when I was thinking, if a seafood restaurant
Yeah.
that comes from Goa works, if a seafood restaurant that comes from Malwan works, if a seafood restaurant that comes from South India,
Yeah.
that to various parts of South
Yeah,
India
yeah.
work, then why not yet another Kohli cuisine, which is a
Got it.
seafood, could work?
Got it.
So coming back to your question, Kohli cuisine is literally staple seafood.
Okay.
Yeah, but cooked in a little different format. One main ingredient of the Kohli cuisine is literally our Kohli masala.
I see. Okay.
So it's the powder masala,
Right.
which we cook our gravies in mainly. And like, for example, my masala that our gravies are cooked in at Vasai Local come in from Vasai.
Got it.
So my mother, my aunt, they'll fetch in, the dry ingredients, they'll dry it and whatever,
Got it.
grind it, repackage and send it to me.
Got
So
it.
masala is one. There are little very simple elements of the Koli cuisine. For example, people from Malvan and Konkan and all, they use a lot of kokum, which is
Okay.
the peel of
Yeah.
mangosteen.
Yeah.
In Koli cuisine, we use a lot of tamarind.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
On Goan cuisine, they use a lot of coconut.
Yes.
The Kolis don't use a lot of coconut.
Ah,
So
interesting.
ours are very simple gravy, your onion, tomato, coriander based, and so on.
Right.
So we have different marinades, like your tawa marinade, which is
Yeah.
probably available at all the
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yeah.
But what I created, Hari, is a Koli marinade, which
Okay.
is logically non-existent.
Got it.
So this is a simple coriander-based marinade. I'm talking about fry fish here,
Mm.
which would be done in my house, which is curated by
Mm.
my mother. And I said, why not create that as a marinade?
course.
And that's what you get here. Literally, the
Wow.
only place where you get it. It's also good to know, even in Kolis, there are different kind of communities.
Okay.
So we are the Kolis from Vasai, you'll have Kolis from Varli, some are
Got it.
call them as Agri Kolis. Even their household way could be a little different in making.
Got it.
So somebody would come and say, listen, you don't taste koli at all. So I'm like, it wouldn't, because your koli is different. My
Got it.
koli is what is cooked in my house. Of
Yeah.
course, the base is very similar. People have gone ahead and compared us with other seafood restaurant, because Mumbai, or similar
Yeah,
belt
yeah,
like
yeah.
your Pune or Goa.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, you don't taste the same. I'm like, I wouldn't taste the same, because this is Koli cuisine, which is from my household.
Of course.
You
Of
could be
course.
Koli, but it could
Yeah.
be different in your household.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that does bring a very interesting twist when you say it's your household.
Yeah.
I think that makes it very different
Yeah.
on its own.
Yeah.
Even within the same area,
Yeah.
I'm sure different houses cook it slightly differently.
Absolutely.
Right? Taste overall, I think you've pointed out the differences very well in terms of the masala and everything
Yeah.
else, but I think that does make a difference. In Vasai local here, Supriya, what are your top 3 or 4 dishes that you would like anybody that walks in should not walk out of Vasai local without trying that?
Absolutely. Wow, that's a great question. You know how, as a restaurateur, you would always want to sell more.
Yeah.
So, whilst I'll give you top 3,
Yeah.
Hari, I'd like to say that our Koli cuisine is literally 2 pages. 1 page of starter and 1 page of main course.
Okay.
And those are the fish that you would normally eat in
Yeah.
that
Okay.
belt of Mumbai. So you're talking about pomfret, prawns, kingfish, bombil, which is the Bombay duck,
Yeah.
and sometimes the mackerel.
Okay.
Similar on starters, similar on gravies.
Okay.
However, our top selling on the starters, I'll begin with, is the bombil rava fry.
Okay.
It's the Bombay duck.
Yeah.
It's not a duck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's this chewy, crumbly, gooey fish,
Okay.
which just kind of melts in your mouth. We say that we do the best bombil rava fry in town. Literally, we do. And that's whatever I say here in terms of we do this as best, our clients has given us that,
Of course. Of course.
quotation of what we do. So bombil rava fry first to start with. Then is known as bharlela sarga, stuffed
Okay.
pomfret,
Okay.
which is again my grandmother's recipe.
Wow.
So the
Okay.
stuffing inside is a stuffing that you will not get anywhere. I may
right.
say in the world as well.
All right.
Because again, it's new to my, it's new to Dubai, but it's curated by my grandmother.
Got it.
And the third one, I would say probably shrimps.
Okay.
You know, all types of shrimps. You do a rava fry or masala fry and so on. On the curries, we have a curry which is known as kolbi batata sambat, which is a prawn and potato curry.
Oh, okay.
I know you're going a little like this because of the names.
Yeah.
So one thing what I have done here is I have kept the names of the dishes what I would call them in my home, which is very Marathi Koli sounding.
Makes sense.
So kolbi is prawns.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've called it that kolbi batata's
Yeah.
potato.
Yeah.
And underneath I've given the description in English
it. Yeah.
to keep it more relatable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kolbi batata sambat, a green curry, another one curated by my mum. And I would use another one as an accompaniment, which is bhakri.
Okay.
So it's a rice flour
Yeah.
roti that is
Yeah,
made,
yeah.
you dig into it with the gravy. And well, to keep in today's trend of eating healthy, it's gluten-free as well because it's made out of rice flour.
Got it.
Talking of what's the best dishes, what is keen is all the fish that comes in daily. So we don't use any frozen products,
Wow.
and there are no preservatives in our food. Be it the Koli food or be it the North Indian or other snacks that we sell,
Right.
all home style,
Right.
for the
Right.
commercial purposes, what needs to be done with
Right.
the food. Like, how do I make my tawa masala look a little red?
Right.
Sometimes you do that at
Of
home.
course.
You'll add the color. So we
Correct.
don't do that. There's no
Oh, that's
color,
very
no
interesting.
preservatives,
Yeah.
no additives. What you don't put in your house
Right.
in the food, we don't put that in the restaurant as well.
Got it. Got it. So, in terms of, as I was hearing you describe these items, what's coming to my mind is, are they going to be spicy?
I love that question. I'm loving your questions. You're bang on answering with what I want to. Koli cuisine is super spicy and is
Oh.
super oily.
Wow. Okay.
But I
Is-
know from
yeah.
the look of your face, you're like, I'm not coming
Yeah.
to your restaurant.
Yeah.
So that's the two things that we've tweaked, Hari.
Okay.
What we've done is we know how Dubai is with the palette of, spice. We also know how, till a certain extent, India is spoiled with its spice level for unnecessary of chili, where,
Of course.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
spice should
Yeah.
be a spice which could give you the flavor,
Right.
not something that would burn your tongue
Right.
in your chest and so
Right.
on and so forth. So we've changed the spice. We've made it less spicy.
Okay.
We've made it a good spice,
Okay.
a flavorful
Yeah,
spice,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is palatable to Dubai. And we've got off the unnecessary oil that is used in the Koli cuisine, the so-called Rogan. So any
Yeah.
Koli cuisine, if you have to ever go to Vasai,
Yeah.
you'll be like, oh my God, you look at the oil, that's where the flavors come in
Yes.
from.
Yes. Yes.
So these are the two things we've done. So
Wow.
not spicy. Now, if you want it spicy, we tweak the spice for you
Of
by
course.
adding the chili, and hence the Koli marinade.
Got it.
The marinade, the green
which you
marinade that I
spoke
told you
about.
of
Yeah.
coriander, that's perfect palatable, be it for Indian or non-Indian as well.
Understood. Understood. It does make a lot of sense. I think if you've, you're still bringing that food, your homemade Koli food out here, and you're making it accessible to people. I think that's the most important part. Most of the times I hear there are cuisines all around the world, but sometimes you just cannot eat them the way it is eaten locally in those places, because we also have to be cognizant to the fact that people that have been brought up in that area have been brought up with this cuisine.
Correct.
So it suits their body.
Yeah.
But when you bring it out to a country, a melting pot like Dubai,
Yeah.
obviously you got to cater to that. Now that's I would say a job well done by Vasai locally, right?
Thank you so much.
So-
Yeah. I totally get it because I personally don't eat that level of
Yeah.
spice.
Yeah.
The kids there, when you go to Vasai, you'll see them eating that curry and you'll
Of
be
course.
like, oh, they're eating it so
Yeah.
coolly. But when
Yeah.
I look at it, probably my son wouldn't be able to handle that spice because he's raised here.
Yeah.
Exactly what we've done. You have to adapt to the place where,
Of course.
you're living and where you have to make the business work.
Yeah, yeah.
So even though I'm here, where I've introduced Koli cuisine to Dubai, I know that this cuisine is going to work. I cannot be standing here and saying, oh, listen, this is how our spice level is and this is the kind of oil
Yeah,
we
yeah.
put in. So we've tweaked
Got
our
it.
bits based on
sense.
what the market needs.
Makes sense. So Supriya, now we are hitting the season, so to speak. This is the
Yes.
time when all restaurants thrive here for the next 5 months, flat.
Love it.
right? So this is the season time for everybody. So, are you doing something different? You've been here for so many years now,
Yeah.
and touchwood, you've sailed through the COVID
Oh,
as
yes,
well,
we survived.
right? That must have been hard. But for this upcoming season, what is it that you're doing? Are you doing anything special?
Okay, so here's the thing. As a restaurateur, it's so tough that you have to keep innovating.
Yes.
And let's face it, innovating is hard, because you have Koli cuisines and there are certain amount of dishes.
Correct.
What next? What
Correct.
next? We started off as a seafood and tandoor restaurant. So we sell amazing amount of tandoor, of course, which is your tikkas and, chicken, mutton and so on, and a lot of fish. It's our clients who got us to introduce to other things. For example, they'll be like, why don't you try Chinese out? just as a snack part of it.
Got it.
We added that on the menu.
Nice.
Then we said evenings is your downtime. Yeah, your 5 to 7 is when it's not
Yeah,
buzzing, especially
yeah.
over the weekday.
Yeah.
We said, why not bring in the chai? Because chai
Got
is
it.
something that Dubai loves.
Of course.
So we introduced our own Baloki chai. Then we realized, in a ways, we're also from Mumbai. Yeah, Vasai, Mumbai. We launched the Mumbai style vada pav. And then, of course, to beat onto the beating trend, unfortunately, you have to be sometimes where you see Oman chips everything, Oman
Yeah,
chips
yeah,
paratha,
yeah.
Oman chips
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
Oman
yeah.
chips that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was surprised, how come nobody created a Oman chips vada pav?
Okay.
So we actually have a Oman chips vada pav.
Oh, wow.
And it tastes nicer than the actual vada pav, which you should try.
I'm going to go and get that. Yeah.
Yes. So these are the things that we keep innovating. But I
Okay.
must admit here, not being from the restaurant industry initially, I did go with the flow. My
Of
client
course.
would say, put in Chinese, put in this, put in that.
Let's-
I would go, and we made it a big fat Indian menu like any other Indian menu would do. Now, after 5 plus years, understanding what
Yeah.
a restaurateur's real
Yeah.
job is, understanding from our failures what works and
Of
what
course.
not works, our focus is predominantly going to be fish and more around it.
Makes a lot of sense.
So we're going to
Yeah.
get the Chinese out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, unfortunately, our clients love it. But because we have another vertical
Got
of
it.
catering, all that food is available in catering.
Of course.
Yeah, your Chinese and so on and so forth. I mean, on the catering aspect, we do Spanish, we do Italian because our chefs of that level. But on the restaurant, we're going to keep it more fish.
Got it.
So we're actually looking to launch more like a Goan menu, which is seafood,
Seafood.
and we look at more bits from Maharashtra. So we just launched last week. We launched the rechado masala, which is a very Goan marinade.
Got it.
That's what we've launched. And come winter, new dishes, what to get on. Mainly, fortunately, unfortunately, the market is spoiled with the kind of offers that you want to
Of
do.
course.
You have to stick in. I was brave at the start of the year where for 3 months I didn't put any offers, thinking I'm going to be a no discount policy. Trust me, I got busted big time. So what I have learned is it's okay to work it in your time.
Sure.
For example, weekends we're super busy, our dine-ins are busy. Weekdays, whereas it's really quiet. So we've launched a Monday buy one get one.
Makes
It's a good
sense.
value for money
Yeah,
for our
yeah,
clients,
yeah.
and we want to give back to the clients. So I know
course.
for the weekend, if you want to dine in, for sure you're going to come and dine in. But this way, I make you another window open for you to dine on a Monday,
Got it.
where all my starters and main course are on a buy one get one.
That's interesting. While you were talking about this, for the season, there's something else. I'm touching back on the previous topic a little bit. Because I'm totally ignorant about fish food.
Yeah.
Fish and chips is something that I hear everywhere, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
British thing.
Yeah,
Fish and chips, fish
yeah,
and chips.
Yeah.
There are restaurants here that call themselves the fish and chips.
Mm-hmm.
So many things in front of it. The name of the person, fish and chips, right? What is that? How is that? I mean, are you so the way you're describing all your cuisine, these are not finger food style.
They're not.
So I think
They
fish and chips
actually,
is sort of being sold as a ball you walk and you eat.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are you thinking in those lines in your new set of cuisines?
Well, that's a good question. So I'll tell you what, really, Hari. Looking at that line, and I did ask myself this question as to why is it that works and sometimes
Yeah.
ours doesn't work at that
Correct.
level. Hence, we created something because somebody told me this, that, you know what, that's exactly,
Yeah.
the whole idea of the shawarma is you drive and eat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hence, we created the fish shawarma,
Oh, you did.
which didn't work.
For all the viewers, I didn't know about this. This was just a prompt to question. Yeah, go ahead.
We did create a fish shawarma.
Okay.
And trust me, it tastes so brilliant. It was made in my bhakri, your vegan
Yeah,
bread.
yeah,
With it had the marinade of my stuffed pomfret, the pickles that we serve at the restaurant with whatever fish you like. It just didn't work. It didn't work because of the pricing. And it's so sad because what happens here, this market doesn't compare apples to apples, really. So, you get a shawarma starting from 5 dirhams to 10 dirhams.
Got it.
For example, you're not going to get a fish shawarma for
Of
5 to
course.
10 dirhams.
Of course,
Because
yeah.
fish is an expensive commodity. So, of course, it was about the 30 dirhams. Or probably, I don't know if I didn't market it right. So, this is one thing that we'd curated and it didn't work.
Okay.
But we are on to curating something else,
Okay.
which we're going to try it on dine-in. It's not going to be like a fish and chips.
Of course.
But it is my vision to work on that lines of going by
Okay.
the kilo and seeing if it works for us.
Oh, okay. So one of the motivations for me was that is to people want the finger food.
Yeah.
And there are events, many times in sprints, we sponsor events, we curate events. And these are events where you don't have tables to sit and eat. These are events where you probably stand and eat. And people who just come buy something that's more comfortable and they
Yeah.
eat and go, right? So that was my motivation to find out if there's anything coming there. And if there is, then yes, we will wait for that and
Trust
see.
me, I could surprise you with a lot of stuff.
Right.
So even though it might not be something that would be workable on the front of a dine-in aspect
Yeah,
as
yeah.
such, like you have your fish tikkas.
Yeah.
Like your one thing that you could do are the shrimps. They are more
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
finger food. So
Yeah.
not all fish could be done like
Of
that,
course.
but yes, but we do some amazing meat, like your chicken and so on. On the catering aspect, we do a lot of finger food.
Of course.
You'll be surprised with that, and I could surprise you there.
Yeah. So I would love to see if there is a possibility where we can get some of these, particularly the fish shawarma that you mentioned. And I'm going on air stating this, that if we can get that on the SpryntZ menu, exclusive on our menu,
Let's
it's
do
not
it.
available anywhere else.
Thank you.
Give me a shot at marketing that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
So let's launch it. Let's relaunch it.
Relaunch
It's
it.
so amazing because I believed in that product so much. I actually did a photo shoot out of it.
Oh, okay.
So I have some amazing pictures to put it right on SpryntZ.
Yeah.
So let's bring it on.
Yeah, we'll bring
I'm
it on.
happy
Let's
to bring
see.
it on. Let's put a very crazy price for
Right,
it
yeah.
so that people get to taste it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give it at a super crazy price.
Yeah.
And then bring it on. I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. So we'll
Great
certainly
idea.
do that. I think a lot of things that you're mentioning, Supriya, resonates with a lot of things that we've been doing at SpryntZ to try to get the restaurant to sell more. For example, you spoke about off times, right? Weekdays.
Yeah.
So on SpryntZ, you can just log in and put an offer
Yeah.
on the fly.
Yeah.
You don't need to even connect with us. You can simply say, from 5 to 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
I'm giving this away
This
for
is
this.
exactly
And then from
what
6
we
to 7
need.
o'clock, I'm giving this away.
Yeah.
From 7 to 8, I'm giving this away.
Yeah.
And you put it all for a week. And you schedule these offers.
Yeah.
And it'll keep rolling out as the time goes by. So it'll
Hari,
and
this
keeps
is
track.
exactly what I need. And I'm presuming most of the restaurateurs need.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, when I decided not to go as a discount policy way back
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we opened in 2019, it didn't work for us. Because I was kind of frustrated that you put in a no cooking day
Yeah.
or, a 50% off or whatever. I'm happy to do that on a Monday or Tuesday when I
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
that I'm not doing well. Well, I'm not happy, but I'm happy. But if that no cooking day becomes into a no cooking week and then it becomes
Yeah.
into a no cooking month and a 50% becomes off all the time,
Correct.
it kills us restaurants.
It's not sustainable.
I really
Yeah.
want people to think about it
Yes.
that how you get a salary, 50% of your salary is
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Are you going to survive? Please
So,
think of it
in
as a
fact-
restaurant like that.
In fact,
If you're
a lot
going
of
to take away 50%, how
in
are
fact,
you
a
going
lot
to
of
survive?
aggregators, Supriya, are banking on the fact that if not Vasai local, some other restaurant is going to come there.
Yeah.
So don't worry. If they're going to lose the game, there's somebody else that's going to wake up and say, let me start another restaurant. And then back comes the game of commissions, right? So
Truly that.
anyways, so where are you headed from here, Supriya? What's your goal? What do you wanna make out of Vasai locally?
Sounds good. So our goal is really slow and steady.
Okay.
That's why we are going to be completing 6 years in April,
Okay.
and you see, there's not another branch or
Hmm.
something like that. We really want to take slow. Like I said, me not being a restaurateur, I've learned it the hard way
course.
on the job. But we now have queries for franchise, and we do have queries for branches and so
Very
on.
nice.
So we're open to that now.
Nice.
Having said that, the motive is not to have 100 branches in a year or so on. We really want to work with like-minded people.
Okay.
We call our restaurant home away from home. You visited our restaurant, the
Yes.
ambiance is where you
Yes.
welcome like how it
Yes.
is in a home.
Yes.
So we want to work with people who we feel welcome in our house and we are welcome in their house. So the whole idea, even to give a franchise, wouldn't be listen,
Yeah.
done franchise, done deal. We want to work as partners,
Got it.
exactly like SpryntZ.
Got it.
We want to work as collaborators. Like if you give me a particular offer and I'll say, Hari, this is not working for us,
Yeah.
we're going to go and tweak the offers.
Yeah.
That's exactly the kind of like-minded we want to work with in
Sure.
terms of franchise.
Sure.
Where we'll do the marketing for them. So we've got certain plans
Sure.
where it's not that you give it and you be done with it.
Got it.
Curation of the menu,
Of
all
course.
the processes of a franchise, but what's beyond that relationship
Yeah.
of keeping it on?
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is if you're going to work with him in a particular way and you're going to help him get that
Yeah.
sale
Yeah.
in whichever way possible,
Yeah.
he's going to ask you probably for
Of
another
course.
franchise somewhere else.
Of course. See, all the large franchise outlets which are running in thousands of outlets across the world, the one thing that they've been able to make work for them is the fact that they've commoditized the process of cooking.
Absolutely.
So anybody could essentially be given a training for a week and they start making those burgers and pizzas. right?
Correct.
Because there is no real skill / know-how required to make it happen.
Yeah,
Outside
yeah,
of the fact that
true.
you just have to sprinkle things on top and
Yeah.
it comes out, right? But in a cuisine like yourselves, I think, which requires so much of attention to detail.
Yeah.
We spoke about the masalas, we spoke about everything else. To be able to just convert that into a franchise is
Yeah.
certainly not a wise move, but what you're doing right now is perfect, giving it that attention and detail
Yeah,
that it requires.
absolutely.
Because your first set of people that might run these franchisees are going to be your ambassadors,
Yeah,
right?
they are.
And it is very important to give that the due attention. Absolutely. I think so many things that you spoke about right now. So we've had a limited interaction, Supriya, but I do want to ask this question. Why did you choose to get on SpryntZ? What was running in your mind?
Again, like I said, somebody called me and said, you need,
Yeah.
there's yet another
Okay.
delivery company. If I may say, I'm like, okay, all right, okay, we have to be on we'll be on
Da
as well.
as
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, and genuinely, when I got the call,
Yeah.
I didn't get in touch with your team for a
Yeah.
very long time
Yeah.
because I think your team spoke to my team because I'm
Yeah.
like, yet another delivery company.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, we have to be there just like we are with others. I recently spoke to Des and Des has really been following up and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, because when he tried to speak to my team, he's like, we just have to make a decision. And when he called me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to meet you. And as a restaurateur, I'm like, you know how it is running around. Finally, I meet him. And the first thing he tells me is how your plan works.
Right.
And I'm like, really? Is this how you're going to survive? How are you going to make money? So, and then will you stay? Who are the investors? Who are the owners? And
Yeah,
things like that.
Yeah.
And then he gives me a role
Yeah.
model of another restaurant
Yeah.
that is doing very well with
Yeah,
you, which
yeah.
is in line with our restaurant. I'm like, take all my money. Just sign the contract. Just take all my money and sign the contract. So
Yeah.
this is exactly what we want.
Sure.
We want people who would work as partners
Sure.
and not squeeze through, where we
Yeah.
both make money. We're
Yeah,
both
yeah,
in the
yeah.
business to make money.
Sure. Sure.
So that's really how we're really looking forward to SpryntZ changing this for us,
Yeah.
because we are mainly a dine-in restaurant
Yeah.
and we do need that percentage that we
Of
need to
course.
make through delivery, which we do with the other aggregators.
Sure.
Of course, with a lot of
Yeah.
minuses on.
Yeah.
With SpryntZ, we really look forward to, like you said, putting on, the shawarma there,
Yeah,
putting on
yeah.
a menu, which we would do only with SpryntZ, and
Sure.
happy to go on there and
Sure.
look forward to doing more with you.
So I must add that we're bringing in a lot of these offers that you could give out to deliveries. We're bringing them to dine-in as well.
Yeah.
In about a couple of weeks, all of these would be available on your mobile.
Oh, fabulous.
So you can actually go out and tell people that every third time the same customer comes to my restaurant,
Yeah.
he will get something special.
Amazing.
Or you can simply say every 10th time anybody comes to my restaurant and eats there,
Yeah.
they get something special.
Yeah.
And you can leave this offer there. So this is something that we've built particularly to build the community and keep them coming back to you.
That's
And
exactly what we want as
that's
a
quite
restaurant.
important. Yeah.
I think it would be a great idea
Yeah.
since you said that.
Yeah.
It works around a lot into the loyalty program.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
None of the
Yeah.
aggregators really has a loyalty
Yeah. Yeah.
program,
Yeah.
and we would love to do that
They
because
yeah.
you
And
want to treat your repeat customers.
exactly. And the idea behind this is that since we have it in the delivery side already, but the idea behind bringing it to the dine-in is particularly for someone like a Vasai local who's invested in that,
Okay.
as opposed to a cloud kitchen who's not made that investment,
Yeah.
right? And people don't know it when they're looking at a flat screen.
Yeah.
They don't know the depth behind it.
Yeah.
So the idea is to try and get this out and make this happen. We also have this audio dish feature where you can talk about everything.
Yeah.
We will again ask you
That's
to talk
brilliant,
just like
yeah.
how you spoke.
Yeah.
Because if people while ordering can listen to you,
Yeah.
I think they'll order. That's
Yeah.
the whole idea, as opposed to uh, going on it and not knowing what it is and reading this stuff, which is very nicely curated with ChatGPT, but
Yeah.
it still doesn't talk to you.
I mean, isn't this brilliant where you, as an aggregator or a partner, if I may call, is not only looking at the aspect of on the financial part of it,
Yeah.
where it comes to your commissions or
Yeah, yeah.
service fee, but you're looking at other features, how to elevate and be up in the market in the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
You're talking about the
Oh, yeah.
visuals.
Yeah.
I mean, people nowadays do eat with their eyes first.
Of course.
Things like that important. A video, an audio visual. I mean, that's something very
Yeah.
different where I'm
Yeah.
going to talk about my dish.
Yeah.
People are going to hear
Yes.
and, have a voice to it.
Yeah.
I think that these are the features that we really look forward to, not only click, order,
Yeah.
add discount, deliver.
So I picked it up from again somebody who's particularly was mentioning about how food is eaten with all the senses, and not necessarily
Absolutely,
with the mouth
totally
only,
it
right?
is.
So Supriya, to the viewers, what else do you want to say, particularly about Vasai Local? Anything that you want to tell them that they can keep in the back of their mind if they're ever going to think about seafood?
Yeah. So I would say home away from home.
Okay.
If you miss home
Yeah.
and you don't know where to eat, Vasai Local is your place to eat. No preservatives, no bad stuff in the food.
Yeah.
When you come to Vasai Local is where you'll feel like you've come home to have a meal.
Right.
That's exactly the nostalgia you need when you're away from home,
Right.
here in Dubai. Overall, I would say it's also about supporting a small size restaurant as
Absolutely.
compared to a big brand.
Absolutely.
The big brand has their kind of budgets and everything else
Yes.
to do it. So just by coming and dining with us is what you support us with.
Right.
By just coming and doing a delivery with us. Sometimes when there's a discount already,
Yeah.
like a thali is not discounted, and you're not asking still for the discount, why there's no discount. These are the little ways I
Exactly.
think you can support
support
us.
the-
So please come to Vasai Local and support a small business and a vision that I have of putting the Koli cuisine on the Indian culinary map.
Absolutely, that was fantastic. That was fantastic, Supriya. So, let me do a last round, right? So here I am with Supriya, who has a background in hospitality, who's worked in Emirates, and came to this soul-searching mode as to what's going on. Stumbled upon a restaurant, picked that up, figured out a name while standing in a train station. Imagine that her homemade Koli cuisine to be brought here into Dubai. She converted that imagination into a reality. Spent the first few years learning the tricks of the trade, understood how to master the recipe, and over the last 4 to 5 years has poured her heart and soul into making the restaurant look homely, right? There is nothing more that I can say for all of you guys to go out to Vasai Local and try it out, right? If you love fish and you want to try a cuisine that you've never heard of, go there. If you love fish and you feel like you just want to go and sit down and have something that makes you feel homely and nostalgic, please go there. And this is Vasai Local in our podcast today. Thanks a lot for everyone watching us.